Ye ghostly monks. In the tranquil valley of Buckfast, Devon, where the River Dart winds through lush meadows and the ancient stones of Buckfast Abbey stand as a testament to centuries of devotion, a haunting mystery unfolded in the early 1870s. A mystery that whispered of the past and stirred the quiet town with ghostly echoes. 10 years before the modern Benedictine monks, known as the Black Monks, restored the abbey in 1882, spectral figures were sighted in the ruins. Ghostly monks clad in robes of grey or white, moving in eerie silence through the twilight. Remnants of Buckfast's medieval orders, the Savigny monks and Cistercians, who had once called this sacred ground home. Buckfast Abbey's history stretches back to the early 12th century, when the Savigny monks, known as the Grey Friars for their simple ash-coloured robes, established a monastery here in 1136. They were a contemplative order, their days filled with prayer and labour, their chants rising like incense over the Dart Valley. In 1147, the Savigny congregation merged with the Cistercians, and the following year, the White Monks took over Buckfast. Their pale robes a contrast to the grey of their predecessors, their austere lives governed by the rule of St. Benedict. Both orders flourished for centuries, their monastery a beacon of faith until the dissolution of the monasteries in 1539 saw it stripped bare, its monks cast out, its stones left to crumble under the weight of time. By the 19th century, Buckfast Abbey was little more than a romantic ruin, its arches silhouetted against the sky, its grounds a patchwork of grazing fields and overgrown cloisters. It was in this desolate setting, in the winter of 1872 or 1873, no one can recall the precise date, that the ghostly monks first appeared. The abbey ruins were a place of quiet solitude then, frequented only by shepherds and the occasional antiquarian sketching the broken walls. On a foggy evening, as the light bled from the sky, a shepherd named William Petherbridge was driving his flock across the abbey grounds, his collie darting at the heels of stragglers. The air was thick with mist, the kind that clings to the skin and muffles sound, when William noticed figures moving in the distance near the remnants of the old cloister. At first, he thought them living men, perhaps labourers or vagrants. But as he drew closer, his breath caught in his throat. There were 5 or 6 of them, clad in robes that shimmered faintly in the gloom, some grey like ash, others white as bone. Their cowls were drawn low, hiding their faces in shadow, and they moved in perfect silence, their steps making no sound on the uneven ground, no rustle of fabric, no crunch of grass, only an unearthly stillness that set William's dog to whining. The figures glided across the cloister, their movements methodical, as if tracing the outline of a long-lost ritual, before vanishing into the mist near the abbey's broken nave. William stood frozen, his crook trembling in his hand, until the chill of the encounter drove him to herd his sheep homeward, muttering prayers under his breath. He told his tale at the Dart Inn that night, half expecting laughter, but the old-timers only nodded gravely. They knew the abbey carried the weight of its past. Word of William's sighting spread through Buckfast, and soon others came forward with their own accounts. In the spring of 1873, a dairymaid named Alice Cole, fetching water from a spring near the abbey at dusk, saw a solitary monk in a white robe standing by the ruined gatehouse, his hands folded in prayer, his form fading as she blinked. That summer, a young curate named Thomas Underhay, exploring the grounds with a sketchbook, glimpsed a procession of grey-robed figures moving silently through the overgrown orchard, their heads bowed as if in vespers, before they melted into the shadows of the ancient yew trees. Each witness spoke of the same eerie silence, the same uncanny glide of their movements, as if the monks were not walking but floating above the earth, bound to a plane beyond the living. The apparitions were universally understood to be the ghosts of Buckfast's early monks, either the Savigny Grey friars or the Cistercian white monks, or perhaps a mingling of both, their spirits tethered to the sacred ground they'd once tended. Some speculated they lingered out of sorrow for the abbey's desecration after the dissolution, their vows of devotion unbroken even in death. Others believed they were caught in a loop of penance, reenacting the rituals of their earthly lives until some divine purpose was fulfilled. The sightings carried no menace. Unlike other Dartmoor hauntings, these monks brought no ill omens, but their silent presence stirred a quiet unease, a reminder of the fragility of sanctity in a world that had moved on. The ghostly monks appeared sporadically over the next few years, always in the twilight or under heavy mist, always in silence. By the late 1870s, the sightings dwindled, and when the Benedictine monks arrived in 1882 to rebuild Buckfast Abbey, restoring it to its monastic purpose, the apparitions ceased altogether. Some said the new monks' prayers had laid the old spirits to rest, their chants of renewal soothing wounds centuries deep. Others believed the grey and white friars had simply retreated, their duty done, their presence no longer needed in a place once more filled with living brethren. Today, Buckfast Abbey thrives as a living monastery, its golden stone glowing in the Devon sun, its grounds a place of pilgrimage and peace. But the memory of the ghostly monks lingers in Buckfastleigh's lore, shared by elders over tea or in the flicker of a pub fire. On foggy evenings, when the mist rolls thick over the Dart Valley, some still glance toward the abbey with a flicker of curiosity, wondering if the silent figures in grey or white might glide once more through the cloisters, their prayers unspoken but eternal, a testament to a faith that even time could not erase. And in Buckfastleigh, where the past is never far, the monks of 1872 remain, a haunting echo of devotion, moving in silence through the twilight of memory. Many thanks for treading this haunted tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, follow, subscribe, and murmur your secrets below. Care to summon more? The coffee link below beckons. Heed its call.